It's finally fall again, which means thick sweaters, chai latte, and Gilmore Girls, obviously. Hey everyone, it's Emily Fox. In today's video, I will be going through all 400-ish books that Rory Gilmore read or was seen reading during Gilmore Girls all over the seasons, plus a year in life if you want to count it. That is debatable, although Emily's arc was good. So I will be reviewing all of the ones that I have read fairly quickly, letting you know if I like them, why not. And then I'm going to go through all of my bookshelves and pick up the ones that I own but I haven't read yet, and I will be spending the rest of the week reading as many of them as possible. We're going to see if my taste is similar to Rory. I do think she leans heavily towards classics, English classics mostly, with a little bit of like more modern and some nonfiction books thrown in there. I don't think our tastes align 100%, but we're about to find out how many I have read out of the 400. I think it's 5? Let's double check. 407. I don't want to look too much at the list because I don't want to find out how many I have read. But like I said, I do think it's a decent amount, so I'm going to go fairly quickly. But just to give you an idea, 1989, which is a classic dystopian, maybe a little too close to reality at the time. To be honest, I tend to rate my books based on my enjoyment. Obviously, there's a little bit more to it, but can't say I enjoyed myself reading this. I don't think that's necessarily the point of the book. There's a whole chapter where he's reading a book, and it's so boring. So to me, it wasn't as impactful as it was or seems to be for other people. So it was a 3-star. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't my favorite dystopian on the topic. I have read Anna Karenina, which unfortunately, I still am not over the fact that some of you have to read this in high school. Please tell me it's a shortened version because that thing was thick. And it's not really that much about Anna, which I felt it was a bit of a bait and switch because you get more about farming and hunting and horses than you do about Hannah. And people joking that their favorite character is a train. Yeah, I kind of agree. Atonement. I actually read this recently during a similar challenge. If you want to see it, I'll link it down below. But this is a World War II historical fiction kind of book, and I felt tricked because I said I wasn't going to read more of them because I felt so burnt out, but this was actually good. There is a bit of a romance, I guess, and that's what I thought this was more about. And you have this little girl that sees a scene between her older sister and a man that was basically raised with them. World War II happens, life happens, the ending. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. A little bit to my surprise, but I enjoyed it. As I'm scrolling, I'm seeing some that I know I own and I want to read, so I'm actually getting excited here. I did read Candide by Voltaire, which I've read a lot of French classics. I have a minor in French literature, and I can't say this one was super enjoyable. I feel like the tone is something you like or you don't. I feel like it reminds me a bit of, like, Princess Bride, Tress of the Emerald Sea. Like, I keep saying that these books are not really for me, and I feel like it's similar-ish. I did read Charlotte's Web, actually. I mean, it's good, but it's a children's book. I did read The Count of Monte Cristo. I read it in French, and my edition is in 2 parts, and we're not going to talk about the, like, what, 1 or 2 years in between part 1 and part 2. This is a solid revenge story. I feel like that's really well known. But personally, my favorite part is like the first 300, 400 pages. After that, I do feel like in the middle, it shows that he was paid like per word. And the ending, I feel like I never hear anyone really talk about some of the problematic stuff that happens towards the end. I didn't expect it. I grew up watching the movie, so obviously I had some expectations, and they're definitely very different. But I will say that there is a positive representation of a lesbian couple. And I do laugh every time I see people commenting that, no, that's not what it is. They were just friends sharing a bed after escaping together. Anyway, did like that one, obviously. Crime and Punishment, let's just say that me and Russian classics don't get along, sadly. The Da Vinci Code, this is what I meant by sometimes she reads a more modern one. At the time, it was more modern. I read this as a teenager years ago, and it was very readable, okay? I don't know how accurate it is. I know people love bashing it. I haven't reread it, so I have no idea. But at the time, I found it very compelling. Could not put it down, and, you know, it was entertaining. I think part of the hype behind this is that everyone was reading it, and every time there's a book like that, it's fun because everyone has read it and you can talk about it, right? So it was fun for what it was at the time. Emma, Jane Austen, this is definitely one of my favorite of hers. A silly girl that meddles into everyone's life, and, you know, it comes back to haunt her a little bit. So of course I liked it. Definitely one of my favorite romances by her. I've read all of her books, most of her books at this point. I've read all of the full-length novels, but I'm not done with everything. And I think this is probably my second favorite after Pride and Prejudice, obviously. I did read Fahrenheit 451. It's another of those dystopian books that you have to read in high school. I did have to read that in high school in English, did not speak English at the time, understood literally nothing, reread it a few years ago. I still think it's not the easiest book to follow, but yeah, once again, it's like, I understand the message. I didn't really enjoy myself reading it, and I feel like there are other dystopians that I like better, but have you seen the copy that you have to like burn or something to see the pages, the writing on the pages? Anyway, that sounded cool. The Fellowship of the Ring. I did read the whole trilogy in French once again years ago. Very long, but it's so epic. I do still think that Sam is the true hero. Fight me. Flowers for Algernon. This is a really good modern classic. I feel like there's a lot of hype. I know, again, people have to read this in school. Poor you. I mean, crying in class must have been really hard, but I love this. This is amazing. And even though it is popular, I still feel like too many people have not read this, and it's absolutely worth it. It's a little mouse that participates into an experiment that makes her smarter, and then main character who does have a disability is put through the same treatment, and a lot happens. That's all I'm going to say, because so many emotions. I have read all the Harry Potter. Let's just move on. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I have read that. I like Jane. I hate the romance. And again, I will fight you on that because why do people think it's romantic? It is. No. I'm always concerned when people tell me this is my favorite. You know, I like them as a couple. Concerning. I try not to be judgy, but I am judgy on that. The Kite Runner, yes, of course. It's such a good book. If you enjoy following a character that will drive you absolutely nuts because a little bit more morally gray, let's say, and it's just his childhood in Afghanistan and a lot of emotion. Once again, fantastic. Love it. The author is so quotable too. Life of Pi, I feel like everyone else, I have read this. I found it at a time kind of slow to go through, but you know, there's the shocking ending kind of thing that everyone talks about. So at the time, once again, I enjoyed it for what it was. I did read The Lottery, but not in other stories by this author. You can find it online, and I thought it was okay. I feel like I keep hearing people, oh, you need to read this, it's amazing. And I remember reading it and being like kind of underwhelmed, but it's been a while and I can't say I remember much of it. So maybe I could give it a second shot. Maybe not. Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. I did read this last year. And once again, it's not that much about Madame Bovary. Like, what's up with that? But it was okay. Honestly, very little feelings about this one. It was fine. Night, I did read that. This is an account of the author's experience during the concentration camps. So, of course, it's a really tough read. It's very short too, but impactful. Northanger Abbey, Jane Austen. I have read that one too. I feel like some of them, I kind of mix-matched them in my head a little bit. I thought it was, once again, kind of underwhelming. I did enjoy the gothic vibes of this one. It was a little bit different from her other ones. But I did find the main female character kind of hard to follow. Let's just say that. And once again, didn't really care that much about the romance. I thought all of her books were going to be as good as Pride and Prejudice, but not really. I appreciate the sass, though. She's very good and very funny. Less so in this one, because once again, it's more gothic, but still. I did read The Outsiders, again, in high school as a teenager. Did not understand anything in English. We did watch a movie, though, which helped a little bit, and then I reread it, and I liked it. I think the author wrote this when she was herself really young, and it's really short, and it does what it's supposed to do, and I did like it, so I did like it. Sounded like I didn't. I did. The Perks of Being a Wallflower. This one I read during a challenge on here. You were making me read some of your saddest book recommendation in the hope I would cry. And I did not cry, but I did actually enjoy this so much more than I expected. I thought it was going to be like, oh, the teenage movie that you have to watch at that age, otherwise it doesn't work for you. But no, I remember it still being good. So I did enjoy it. The Picture of Dorian Gray. I did read the book. I did like it. There is once again one chapter in there where he's like describing everything he likes, which is very long. But I overall enjoyed it. It's not an all-time favorite. I feel like I see it a lot on lists of like must-read classic, and for me was fine. There is an adaptation, right, that is being made that they're now saying that the two characters are going to be brothers. A little bit like the Count of Monte Cristo friends. So weird, so weird. I thought we were past that, but clearly not. Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen, of course, 5-star, a million star. I have seen so many adaptations. I actually did a whole video. I'll link it on the screen description box where I compare my favorite version of each character depending on the adaptations I've seen, and it was fun. If you want to debate who's the best Darcy, okay, you can join us on that video and debate in the comment section. It was very divisive and very fun. But yes, of course I liked it. I loved it. Rebecca. Okay, this one was a little underwhelming for me. I know. I appreciated once again the gothic vibes, but I found it just okay. I feel like it either works for you or it doesn't. I didn't hate it. A Room of One's Own, I think is the first nonfiction that I've read from that list. And once again, I did overall enjoy some of the quotes. I do think that it was probably very forward for the time, very feminist. It's definitely like, I think, second wave feminism, so it's not as intersectional as I would like, but obviously, again, modern perspective. So it was interesting to read for what it was once again. The Secret Life of Bees. I read this a couple of years ago, and from what I remember, I did not care about the main female character. I wanted to know more about the women keeping the bees. They seemed way cooler. Anybody else? Because that was my main review after finishing it. Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. This is probably my third, like if I had to put them in order, one day I'd need to do that. This is probably my third favorite by her. I liked the sisters' relationship. I don't really know about the romances. I know people love it, especially the movie, the adaptations, but it was okay for that, but the sisters were great. The Shadow of the Wind. Okay, I have very mixed emotions, but I overall really enjoyed this book. I liked the writing quite a bit. The main character, when he was a child, went to this library and he found this book, The Name of the Wind, and then whenever he tries to figure out more about the author, trying to find his book, he realizes that someone is going around stealing the books, burning them, like he can't find them, basically. So it's really interesting, a little bit magical realism, but it's hard to look past some of the sexism at times. So just, a heads up. I couldn't continue the series because of that, but the first book I really did enjoy. So The Shining, Stephen King, could not finish it. This is going to be unpopular, but yeah, I just couldn't. I couldn't. I have a complicated relationship with Stephen King. I need to decide what I'm going to do with his books because I keep trying them and they're either very readable or I have too many issues with them. I recently, like last week, I tried to read App Pupil. I had to put it down. I couldn't do it. Plus his endings usually suck. But maybe we're going to have to make some decisions about him because I've seen so many of his books on this list. I might as well try them because it's fall. I feel like horror, that's the time for that. It won't be the only one I will pick though because I do want to enjoy myself a little bit. Stiff, The Curious Lives of Human... Another nonfiction I have read. This one was quite shocking. Frankly, the main thing that stuck with me is the fact that there was this real story, obviously it's nonfiction, where this man found out that, is it his mother? Her cat... She had given her body to science, and then he found out that she was used in a car crash or explosion, something. Yeah. Yeah. It was quite the nonfiction. Yeah, let's just go with that. Wuthering Heights. Okay, that's another one I almost mentioned when we were talking about like Jane Eyre and all these like and Rebecca, like gothic vibes. This one, it's two awful people doing awful things to each other, really. But once again, I've seen people talking about this about like, oh, it's so epic romance, like very concerned once again. I did overall enjoy it, but once again, I wasn't fully invested. I feel like sometimes some classics, you hear so many things about them that whenever you get to it, your expectations might be a little too high, but it wasn't for me, but I'm glad I read it. Now I can say, aha, one more on this list that I can be a snob and say I read. So these were from season 1 to 7, and the next ones are going to be from the year in life. I did read And Then There Were None, Agatha Christie. I thought it was okay once again. I feel like whenever you say you like the idea of whodunit, locker room kind of murder mystery, this is the first one people recommend, so I was really excited, and again, I found it okay. Writing in English doesn't seem to work for me as well as whenever I read them in French growing up. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to test that theory. Contact by Carl Sagan. I did read this book. I enjoyed it. First contact with aliens, and the aliens are called vegans. I also watched a movie, and to compare them, for some reason, they added a needless romance in there, as they do, but I feel like it's very watchable too, so it was good. Overall, I enjoyed it. Cyrano de Bergerac. Did read that one. I did like it. Jurassic Park, Michael Crichton. I did enjoy that one. It's a lot more heavy on the science, once again, than the movie, but I thought it made it even more interesting, although do be warned, a little girl in there will drive you nuts. My Goodreads review is literally starting with, lesson from this book: children are annoying and they will get you killed, because yeah. The life-changing magic of tidying up. Who has not read Marie Kondo? I actually listened to that one as an audiobook, that way I could actually declutter at the same time. I don't necessarily vibe 100% with the whole like thanking your clothes. She has said since that you don't really have to do that, and I know people did this fake scandalized movement online because she said 30 books or something, and like obviously I have more than 30 books, but like she never really meant you had to remove them. Just if you don't like them, they don't bring you joy. But she's chill. It's fine. I liked it for what it was. I almost forgot one, Game of Thrones. I did read the first book. I attempted the second one and put it down. I feel like people always ask you. They were so close to the TV show at the time, and I know I could continue to see, the differences, and at this point I don't care anymore. I don't care. I feel like the last seasons were so bad that I lost interest completely. So the book was fine. To Kill a Mockingbird, that is, I think, the last one I have read in English in school that understood nothing, and I have yet to reread it. It is on my shelf, though, so I could actually, I kind of know what it was about, but like, I didn't speak English, come on. Did read Shawshank Redemption, but they put it with another book by him, but I'm gonna count it. Shawshank, everyone knows. Prison, an innocent man, one not innocent. And I can't tell you more, but it is good. It is probably one of his best as a book. I feel like some of them are good as movies, not so much as book, but it's a good one. Of Mice and Men, I did read, I did enjoy. I think that's another one people have to read in school, not me though. And it was good. It was good. Did not make me cry. It was on my list of that too. You guys thought it would, and it didn't. But it was emotional. Frankenstein, I did also read the first horror book, Written Woman. I get, again, the importance of the book. I found it just okay. There were some interesting sections, learning to talk and everything, but okay, so I tried counting and I got to 42, but I kept realizing I had forgotten some, so it's definitely possible I have made a mistake, but probably 42 out of 407. So about 10%, which does not sound that good, but she has read a lot of like Shakespeare's. It's like one by one, she names them all. And I haven't read any, so that's definitely playing, some classics I just haven't gotten around to. So 10%, not bad, 42. But let's see if we can increase that number. Definitely let me know, by the way, in the comment section how many you have read, because 407. It would take me forever to read all of them for a challenge, but we can read a couple. And I have seen a lot of them on that list that I know I have. So let's grab them. It's gonna take me a while. So she has a lot of classics, and my classics are here, and mystery, thriller, horror, which Stephen King. Let's grab those first by memory because I'll have to come back after, but I'm sure we can find something that I do want to read. She did have this one. What else did she have? Oh, this one, The Awakening. She had Lord of Flies. What else? Oh, she had The Great Gatsby and Little Women. I don't think I'm going to read those, but is there anything else before I move out? Okay, we're going to have to. Okay. Don't fall. I don't think she had any French classics. No. Okay. She did have Middlesex. Oh, they had this one too, actually. What else do we have? She had some Stephen King, which... Are they here? Oh, she did have Cujo. There you go. Which other one did she have from him? She had Christine. Let's go on this side too. Fantasy. I don't think she had even one, but she had some sci-fi. So let's quickly see. What do we have? Was this one on there, or I'm just imagining? I feel like this one is on every list, but I don't think it was there. What else did she have? I'm pretty sure she had this one. She did have this one. I forgot here. There's this one, I think. There's Anne Frank right there. Give me a second. There was To Kill a Mockingbird right underneath. Okay, I think I got all of them. Let me count them quickly. Are there 23? I feel like that should be enough. There's no way I'm reading more than like 2 or 3 this week, but I own quite a bit, so our tastes might not be as dissimilar as I thought, but let's go through them very quickly just to give you an idea of my options. I think this one I actually do want to read. This is The Awakening by Kit Chopin, which very short, but this has been on my TBR for so long, on my shelf for so long, because I wanted to read it, then I read a spoiler in a book, and now I don't know if I remember the spoiler or not. I'm not going to say it out loud just in case. It's probably a spoiler. Now that I think of it, it's probably the ending, but I believe this one was seen as quite like progressive and feminist for the time and like scandalous. Oh yeah, there you go. Shocked the readers with its honest treatment of female marital infidelity. Okay, I don't want to choose yet, but I want to read that. Ooh, some Stephen King. Okay, I do have Cujo, and I think there's another one down there. Where is it? There you go. I think I might make you vote on Instagram which one I should give a shot to, but we're going to keep this for last because I do want to try to find some classics that I like because she has read so many. But thrown in at the end, maybe one Stephen King. I know this one's about the car, I mean, clearly, but can a car really be that scary? I guess I could find out. And this one is obviously about a dog, but the real scary portion is the extreme close up of his face on the back. Which, like, this is like an old edition. I love used book shopping. So yes, I think that would be a good like third choice or something. Now for the classics, we need some more. We do have Mrs. Dalloway. I wasn't super in love with the one book I have read by her, and I want to try more. So that's an option, I think. Is there a second one? No, I think it's the only one. So that could be an option. We have Middlesex, another book that tricked me into thinking this was a classic. It's not. It's fairly recent, but I've heard it's a good representation for intersex character, which please confirm in the comment section. But I've heard good things, so that would be an option. Between 23, I'm really tempted to pick this one up because I've been meaning to read this for so long, but I feel like it's not necessarily representative of her taste that much. So, but maybe seeing it like this during the challenge will make me think about reading it. Is it good? I've seen the movie, which, my gosh, I feel like I've seen all of them in here, but like I don't watch that many movies. I struggle to finish movies and TV shows, but obviously, how could I not with her as an actress? Lord of the Flies. Isn't that little boys on an island and dramatic stuff happening? 100 Years of Solitude. I believe this is considered magical realism. And as soon as this made it to my shelves, people told me that there's a ton of essay. Is it between the same family too? Let me know. Gorgeous edition though. Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I mean, this is definitely fall-esque. That could be actually a strong option. We have Beloved, which I've only read, is it The Bluest Eyes by the same author, and I've been meaning to try more, so that could be an option. The Bell Jar. I have been wanting to read that one too. I feel like we've all read that one quote. I can put it on the screen about the tree. I feel like it's very relatable. I think the main character is depressed, as was the author. Although I've been told, I think there's a few quotes that did not age well, let's just say. So to keep in mind, but it's on my list. I've been meaning to read this. Matilda, a children's book. If I hate everything I'm reading, maybe maybe that could be an option. I've seen the movie. Wanted the teacher to adopt me. Anne Frank. Did not have to read this in high school, but one day I will read it. See, To Kill a Mockingjay. I could reread it, but I feel like it would be more fair to give a shot to another book, but one day. Slaughterhouse-Five, don't know anything about that one. Alice's Adventure in Wonderland, which I think it's only the first book that was on her list, so I'm going to be honest with myself and with you. There's absolutely no way I'm reading Gone with the Wind or War and Peace. It's just not happening. I mean, they're both huge. There's no way I'm reading them in like 7-10 days anyway. So, Brave New World, is it worth it? Because, like I said, I liked just okay Fahrenheit 451, 1984, and I feel like this one is like similar vibes. Is it? You tell me. Works and Creek, which is more modern than the other books. This one, dystopian, apocalyptic kind of setting, and I have yet to read that one. I went through a phase and I read a lot of them, and I bought it used. There's someone's name in it. Marlene, I think. So I've read a ton of post-apocalyptic books, and I have like strong favorites, and a lot of them that I didn't care for. If you know my taste, do you think I should pick this up? Let me know, but probably not this week. Oh, another close-up. Less close-up than the Stephen King one. Ooh, I've been wanting to read Kafka. Okay. There were, I think, 2 of his books or stories on her list. There's Metamorphosis, which I think that's the one I want to pick. And I want to see because she had a trial, and I don't know if I own this one or not in this copy. I'm not seeing it. So, Metamorphosis. I think I might pick this one. Isn't that the one with the bug? I'll find out, I think. We have The Great Gatsby, which I've heard things about. I think people also had to read this in high school, and I know more about the fact that he basically stole this book from his wife, as too many of them did. And I can't name anyone. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to read that. And then Little Women. I tried it, and I never really finished it. That is a lot of options. So unfortunately, we do have to pick just a few. Like I said, I really wanted to read Kate Chopin because I like the idea of very like modern for its time kind of books. That's how I felt about The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by one of the Bronte sisters, the most underrated one. Love that one. I think it's a really interesting take. It's like I actually was going to spoil it. I'm not going to. It's worth checking out. For some reason my edition is saying 1993. That does not sound right. Let me Google it. Okay, it was first published in 1899. There you go. I don't know why. I guess it's the modern copyright. I don't know. 1899. So I think that's going to be my first one. And I think maybe Metamorphosis after. And then depending on how it goes, we'll adjust. And I might make you vote on Instagram for Stephen King. Like I said, I'm feeling pretty cutthroat with him. I might, try both and get rid of whichever I don't like. So, and if I still have more time, I'll pick something else. But we'll see. I'm surprised I had this many on my shelves, but like 400 is a lot of options, to be honest. Plus, a lot of them like high school kind of books or like classics, and I use Bookshop a lot. So I feel like these are options that you will see going around. So I have work to do. I might take some sneaky breaks to watch Gilmore Girls. How do you feel about this series? Because I feel like I struggle to watch past, I don't know which season it is, 3, 4, whenever she gets when she gets to university, she changes completely and she drives me. Like, I know they had issues beforehand, but it gets so much worse. And also, most importantly, which team are you on? Because I think I am Team Jess. I know. I know he was kind of messed up when he was younger. He was going through it. But I feel like as adults, he's kind of her Luke, right? I want to know. Let's fight in the comments. And I'm going to start with this one because I'm the most excited about it. I finished our first book of the week, and The Awakening was worth the wait. It was worth the hype. I do think this was good. I feel like sometimes classics, the writing will work or not for you, but this one I actually really enjoyed. And there are a few quotes that actually, I think there was one page specifically that I wanted to put on the screen because it gives you a lot of info about the state of the main female character whenever this is going on, because I understand why it was so shocking when it came out, because they're saying in the back like an honest treatment of female marital infidelity, but the main female character is feeling quite stuck in her marriage, and it's saying how like her marriage to Léonce Pontellier was purely an accident, in this respect resembling many other marriages which masquerade as the decree of fate. So she wasn't, in love with him. And then shockingly at the bottom of the page also, she's saying how she did not miss her children whenever they were not around her. I feel nowadays still people would be shocked by this, and like their absence was a sort of relief. So she's feeling really stuck. I mean, there's a lot of social expectation. Things were definitely a lot worse back in the day. Women could not just, go work, live alone when they're not happy and get a divorce. So a lot of that. So there were definitely a few quotes like this that really stood out to me. And then she starts having some romances going on, and the ending, the spoiler I remember was the ending. This is unfortunate because it means I have a good memory and I will remember when I see spoilers. Like, I know it's an old book, but like, don't put a spoiler just right there in the book, whatever you're writing it. But yes, I can definitely see how this was quite shocking at the time. It was really interesting to see how it would happen, being in the head of the main female character as she's going through this ennui of life in the beginning and trying to discover herself through, again, those relationships. And yeah, if you want a shocking little book, it's not super long, like it's 115 pages, but obviously it's a classic, so it's not the fastest read, but the writing was definitely easy to go through. So would recommend. I think I'm gonna give this a 4. This is solid. This is solid. So now I think I'm gonna go with the Kafka one because I want to know because I don't know anything really about him. I've seen like little clips, and I think he had like drama with his father. I probably should look that up, which is the one thing about reading classics. I feel like I always feel like I should be in a class to read about it. But my edition has a bunch of his stories, and on her list, she had specifically Metamorphosis, so page 85. So I'm gonna start there. If I really like it, I will know that I have all of these other stories by him to read, which I don't want to binge read that. I feel like that's the best way for me to just never want to read nothing, anything else by the author. So I'm gonna start there. I'm gonna read that story and we'll see. I'm hoping I'm gonna like this one. Oh, I need to read you the first sentence. Are you ready? When Gregor Samsa awoke one morning from troubled dreams, he found himself changed into a monstrous cockroach in his bed. So it is the one about the insect. Okay, that's all I know. That's all I know. And now I'm intrigued. Oh, okay. I have a good feeling about this one too. So I'll see you in a bit, I guess. For you in a bit. For me, give me 2 days. Never alone. I come here 5 seconds, and now there are 4 kids with me. To be fair, don't mind this. This is their bed at this point, so this is their house. I just live in it. Look how similar size they are now. My dude, you are huge. And you're always starting shit. Stop starting crap. But like, yeah, you're gonna leave. You're big. You're a big boy. Like, the other brothers are here. Everyone is here. Okay, quick update. Didn't think I was going to finish it tonight, but like a true Gilmore girl, I don't sleep. It's not true. I had chamomile tea and I'm so sleepy. They would be ashamed of me. They're always having so much caffeine. I don't know how they take it. How do they sleep? Their tummy doesn't hurt? I don't understand. Anyway, I finished Metamorphosis and I actually liked it more than I expected. Obviously, I wanted to like it, right? That's kind of the point of the challenge. But the main character does wake up as an insect, I guess. It's not really explained right away. You just get his description of him trying to wake up. He's gonna be late for work. And it's very slow. And like it's happening, you know, he seems to be slow at first, not understanding what's going on, but falling back asleep. And like a lot is happening in his head, basically. And a lot of it is just his thoughts throughout the experience. And then his family is the breadwinner. So like they're trying to wake him up. His boss shows up and like so much is happening. And I had to look up quickly. I'm a little sleepy, but I looked up quickly if it was because of his relationship with his father. The whole like feeling alienated and like the difficult family and all of those like almost not feeling human and just, it was good. It was good. I was right though that it feels like this is something you should read in school. Have someone that knows, you know, his life history and everything. And I'm sure I'll do a little bit more research tomorrow, but I definitely feel like that's something that I want to do. I would benefit from. I don't feel like I do that super often with books, but I want to read more by him. Apparently his father was not really a big fan of him, so I feel like you can feel it throughout the book. And just because the relationship, his family, I don't want to spoil it, but like his family is definitely a lot throughout the book. It's 70 pages, but I liked it. And I think I'm also going to give it 4. So that's 2 4-stars. That's actually really good. So pleasantly surprised. If you have more favorites by him or no more bits. Oh my God. Or know more about him and his history, anything that would be relevant, fun facts for us or less fun facts in the comment section, let us know. Because now I'm intrigued and I want more. I also did post on Instagram our options for Stephen King. And I believe Cujo won by about like 100 votes or something. You'll get the official number on the screen. So it looks like I'm going to get traumatized by his giant face. The funny part is that you guys did not even know about that. I just posted the pictures. That's it. But it's like deep down you knew. I can remove the jacket. I will remove the jacket for my own sanity. But we're gonna give another shot to him. Hopefully the dog thing goes well. Good morning. I finished a book last night, very late last night, because I need to know how it ended. and I'm slightly traumatized. Yeah, slightly traumatized. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. I feel like Stephen King is really good at two things. First, he's really good at expressing those like childhood fears. Like in here, there is a kid that is imagining this monster's in his closet. And he's so good at making you feel that. And I remember feeling similarly whenever I read it. Again, the childhood portions, he was really good at it. And he's also good at creating adults that are kind of awful, like complex, great characters. And in this case, there's just a lot of dysfunction, like DV, there's people cheating on each other, and alcoholism. Like there's a lot going on. And again, he's really good at this. My issue with him usually it becomes too violent and it just feels kind of gratuitous. Like it becomes too much. And I know like people like that, but like I feel like sometimes horror just goes in that direction. It's just too much just for the sake of it. And that's kind of how I felt last week when I attempted to read at Pupil, which like I could deal with this stuff until it got to like excessive animal abuse. Like it was when the third time was approaching, I decided enough is enough. And I wasn't enjoying it enough to continue. So that's why I gave up on that one. And I feel like in general, his endings also are not his strongest suit. So I was kind of worried to finish that one. But this one, the ending was good. I'm not going to spoil it, but there's this one sentence in my edition. It's at 305. And to give you an idea, the book is 320. So like it's the end. There's this one sentence that starts with how. And I was like, what? And I had to go back and reread it a couple of times. I was like, oh, oh. So I feel like for once I'm happy with the ending. I think it's satisfying enough that, I'm happy about it. I know there's a movie. I'm not going to watch it. I don't think I want to actually see that. But yeah, the poor dog. I thought it was going to be once again animal abuse, and I was like kind of scared. But you start with the dog, big old puppy, 200 pounds, Saint Bernard. So like huge dog, but he's very friendly in the beginning, and then he shoves his head in this big hole and is bitten, scratched by a bat, and rabies. So like that's not a spoiler. I mean, that's literally the point of the story, right? So you get these sections, and for some reason, I got really heartbroken whenever you would get a sections from his point of view, and he's like thinking he's not feeling good, and I'm like, no. Obviously, everything that happens to the other people also feels awful, but like whenever it's someone bad, it's hard to feel as bad. Anyway, also as I tend to do, I have the most random post-it to discuss because sometimes things happen in the book and it takes you out. And I think it's really interesting to discuss it because everyone has different things. And this one is like so random, but like you'll get it. So you have this woman and she stood 5'11" and was an inch taller than Vic when she wore heels. But Steve was nearly 6'5". 6 inches heels are kind of rare. I don't know if it's nowadays, whenever this was written, was it 80s, 70s? 81. How common was it? I'm genuinely curious because you hear 6 inches heels, but like most of them are like 375 or something. Like the majority of them are not that. It is tall. Tall. And like if she's 5'11" and wants to rock, go you. But like it is tall. And for some reason, I was reading, I was like, this was written by a man. This is the least offensive time I've said that because sometimes what I put a post-it for that is like, this was written by a man is way worse. I'm still thinking about that story before the coffee gets cold. That one was, I'm still mad about that one. It ruined the book for me. But yeah, I think I'm going to give it 3.5, 3.75. Like, it's not my favorite book by him, but it's definitely not my least favorite one by him either. Let me open the door. Claudia's yelling. I know I'm rewarding her by opening the door every time, but like, she's yelling. What am I supposed to do? Go destroy everything, please. But you want to purr for the people? I'm holding you. You don't like... She does not like to be held, like at all. She's so grumpy. But she wanted attention. You're getting it now. So yes, I'm going to round it up to a 4 because I'm feeling generous. Plus, not gonna lie, the fact that it would mean 3 4-star books in one video plays a little bit. But like, We'll allow it. I mean, this was satisfyingly horrifying. So it's not even a bad picture of him. It's just so big. It's bigger than my hand. Like, it's a little bit close up, okay? A little bit. So yeah, I think I had a better week than I thought I would. I'm not gonna lie. Do I feel like a Gilmore girl? No. I feel like I should have stepped up my game a little bit and have like a ton of coffee or like learn to talk way faster. But you know what? Because I've had such a good time, I think that means I should do it again. Should I do it again next year? Maybe. Why not? I'll do it like over the top. I'll drink coffee. I'll find Rory's sweater, okay? I want that white sweater so badly. It looks like a quality old men sweater. You know, like my husband is a fisherman. I live in Ireland and he went away and I'm wearing a sweater. Like that's what I want. I dress up like a grandpa during the winter. Like this is my style. Anyway, 3 5-star, 3 4-star. I had a good time. I was a little worried because she reads so many classics, but I don't know if it's the ones I picked up. I had a good time. I'm willing to do it again. Do we want to see it again? Thumbs up, subscribe. If you like these kind of videos where I test lists, I have done a few, including this one by the New York Times 100 Best Books of the 21st Century. And if you want something different, I did post my best books for the fall, some recommendation. I do it in a, if you like this, try that. It's quite fun. You might find something to pick up. And I will see you in my next video. Bye. Say bye before she slaps me in the face. She does not like to be held. You're so pretty though. Oh, you're so mean. Oh, you're so violent. She's been much better. Look at her. Oh, there's another one. No, limit is one cat.